That was not the usual intro, but hello there, I'm Magnum27, and that was one hell of a clip. Yeah, get on with the video. Now you might be wondering, what is this video really for? Well, in this video I'm going to try and explain and basically analyze a screenshot from that clip to see how much we can get out of it. We need to squeeze every single last drop of lore out of this thing. And trust me, it's gonna be a lot, so you better get your popcorn and your watermelon sour patch or something. Because trust me, this is gonna be a long one. Well, starting us off really quick, I'm sorry. This is Space Fox? And the tail! Bro, the ears, too! Oh my god, what is this? Well, it seems like right now we have this very big console with a screen in the middle, with like an X going across the screen. I don't know what that's for. Maybe some sort of rejection. Maybe it's rejecting some sort of code. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Also, one really quick thing about that fox. You know what his tail reminds me of? This thing. It reminds me a lot of this thing. When you think about it, why does its tail look like this? Also, keep in mind, this is an image of the ESS Triton being summoned out of its curious item, or curious object, or whatever. So my question is, why does this look like this? To be honest, it's very similar. It's so interesting. Also, earlier in the clip, we can see the EXO logo. Right here, right before the screen actually completely sets. Which, if it wasn't obvious enough before, we can now confirm that this is an EXO craft. Also, you see that right there? That's a weird shape. At first I thought it was a hole, in whatever this is, like maybe this is some sort of alien structure, because we can see the purple light in the background, which is typically what we associate with the gateway technology. But what I thought this was a hole in the station. But I realized that ain't a hole. I looked at the other one, and I realized those are geometric shapes. It's like cubes or something inside of this structure. Why? That must mean that however big this place is, it must be huge. Especially if there's like some sort of station or whatever this fox is on. Most likely means whatever this station is huge, and it's probably trying to go into this like structure or whatever. Oh, you know what else I noticed? That right there. That is railing. What do we associate railing with? Station! You know what this does remind me of, though? It reminds me of those wrecked landing pads that you can find throughout the solar system. This might be that, or maybe it's a different kind of structure altogether. Also, there are these little lights right here. So, yeah. Now, another thing to take into account is in the background, we can see lights turn on in the clip. There. Now another question would be, why were these lights turning on? Why are there shapes inside of this thing? Cubes or whatever? Why are there control panels here? And why are they shaded differently from the rest of the console? And you guys know what this really looks like? Now obviously we know that this station, or wherever this fox is probably near some sort of alien structure. But you know what I think it might be? See those little twinkly stars around here and there? Yet those are the twinkly little stars we see here. I mean, look around. These twinkly little stars. Just like this image. I mean, it's so similar. Maybe this is the core of a star. I don't know. It's probably very far-fetched. Another thing to take into account is when the camera zooms in on the area in that clip, it plays a music eerily similar to that of when you get close to a curious object. For example, here's the regular curious object music. Now here's the music from the clip. Another question I have is, why would that music play in this teaser? is whatever this fox is on nearing a giant curious object or just a regular curious object? A different reason entirely. Also, very nice graphics, by the way. Nice reflection. Anyways, I have a theory that what we are seeing in this scene, might be a playable area. You know how I know this? Look at the control panels. They have different shades from the rest of the console. And you know why I think this is going to be a playable area? Because typically, I know a little bit about assets in video games. Now, pretty often in video games, an interactive item, basically an object that the player can interact with, basically will most likely have a different shade because it's interactable. It will most likely have a different shade from the rest of the environment because the player can interact with it, and also most likely as an indication that the player can interact with it. In the case of Astroneer, this has happened before. But to prove that this is most likely going to be a playable area, we can look at a previous teaser where there wasn't a playable area. Now, in the case of this teaser from last year, I'm pretty sure from December, the control pad was shaded in to look just like the rest of the environment, whereas the other control panel is very illuminated and stuff, meaning it's most likely going to be interactable. And I mean, we couldn't interact with this control panel specifically until we actually got the wreckage, which is a completely different case entirely. So why else would the control panels have a different shade from the rest of the console? I have concluded that there is most likely no other reason other than it being an interactable item, meaning that we could probably go into this area that was shown in the teaser. Really quick, I want to return to the fact that this place looks an awful lot like the core of a planet or something, but to be honest, if whatever this thing that the fox is on looks pretty big, then how big is it if it's in the background? I mean, it looks huge. It's a pretty big structure. Look at that. That ain't the size of a regular planet core. Now, a question we most likely all have is, when is this update going to release? Well, obviously in 2023, doofus. Okay, well I knew that, but like when specifically? We have actually quite a lot of evidence on this. If we look in the past, it seems like there was a pretty small update before a huge one. Just like Vainglorious mentioned in one of his recent Astroneer videos. You should go check his channel out. I'll probably leave a link in the description, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, every time he mentions in that video, he always mentioned that there was a very small update before a very big update. For example, if you go back to 2020, the holiday event of 2020, like 3 months later, there was the Missions and Big Power update, which completely overhauled power and overhauled kind of the game entirely. Okay, we get it, it gave us missions. And then the holiday event of 2021 was in December, and then the month after, in, January, it gave us the Snails update, which was also a really big update. Not me failing at the English language. I think I'm running out, I swear to God, did this dude take English lessons? I think I'm starting to notice a pattern here. After the 2020 event, in December, there was a big update on March. After the 2021 holiday event in December, there was a big update in January. Astroneer's next 1.0 anniversary is on February 6th. I'm willing to bet the update's gonna be sometime in February. But wait, there's more. We can look back on the times that updates were first teased to when they were uploaded, or to when the update went live. Snails were first teased on August 11th, 2021, and then the update shipped on January 13th, 2022, only around 4 months later. The Rails update was teased back on April 1st, and then they released the Rails update on July 11th. Now, taking this release date and update drop from first tease to update release, taking those times and timelines into perspective, I could probably imagine that the update isn't going to drop on the anniversary of Astroneer's 1.0, but most likely somewhere in between February 20th and February 10th. I'm willing to bet it's going to be the 15th. Please take this with a grain of salt. Also, another thing is that the Snails update was teased 4 months before it was released, and then the Rails update was first teased let's see, 3 months before its actual release. I'm thinking there's a trend here that its first tease, or this update's first tease, is 2 months before the actual release. Meaning, if its first tease was just earlier this month, we might see it in February. Once again, take this with a grain of salt, but I am willing to believe that this update is going to be on February 15th, but most likely sometime during February. But yeah, it's kind of all I have for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video of my analysis of that clip, or just image in general. I hope some of my predictions were accurate about the release date, and that some of my observations on that screenshot were relevant. And System Area, if you're seeing this, please tell me. Probably not though. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below. Sub to the channel would be much appreciated, although you can always change your mind. But in that case, I'd have one less subscriber, and you wouldn't get notified every time I upload a new Astroneer video or any other content you might like on this channel. So okay, goodbye.